Hi. Chapter 11, all about marketing. I had, I had an instructor in intermediate accounting when I was in school, and he used to say, well, if you don't pass accounting, you can always become a marketing major. His view of marketing was a little different than what we're going to talk about today. It's a little more serious than what he was imagining. So here are our learning objectives for Chapter 11. Define marketing and apply the marketing concept to both for-profit and nonprofit organizations. Number 2, describe the 4 P's of marketing. Summarize the marketing research process. Show how marketers use environmental scanning to learn about the changing market environment. Number 5, explain how marketers apply the tools of market segmentation, relationship marketing, and the study of consumer behavior. And finally, compare the business to business market and the business to consumer, better known in the industry as B2B or B2C. Marketing today involves helping the buyer buy through, and that's really what marketing is about, if you think. Marketing is about helping consumers decide what they really need and which product is the one for them. Websites that help buyers find the best price, identify product features, and question sellers. Blogs and social networking sites that cultivate consumer relationships. And finally, experiencing the product. These are the marketing eras. The first era of marketing was production. That was in the late 1800s during industrialization. Then came the period between 1920 and 1965 or so, the selling of product. Then came the marketing concept. This is where marketing became a study in itself. And finally, in our age, it's the customer relationship. So production era, the general philosophy was produce as much as you can because we had factories now. We were making lots of stuff because there was a limitless market for it. Because at that time, or before that time, people were buying individual items. A lot of people in a lot of places in the country couldn't get certain things. Some places, the only place you could get stuff was the Sears catalog. And it took weeks, if not months, to get your order. And now we talk about Amazon delivering next day, right? The selling era. Most companies emphasized selling and advertising in an effort to persuade consumers to buy existing products. So now we had a lot of products. Now we had to talk people into buying those products. Marketing concept era. After World War II, a consumer spending boom developed. Businesses knew they needed to be responsive to consumers if they wanted their business. So it became more sophisticated. And finally, the customer relationship era, CRM, which is the software that's used to manage customer relations, to stimulate long-term customer loyalty. And now, of course, in these days, the mobile on-demand marketing era. As digital technology continues to grow, consumer demands are expected to rise in now. I want it now. If you think back, it wasn't too long ago, certainly in my in my lifetime, where online ordering in the very beginning meant waiting for 5 to 7 to 10 days to get delivery. That's not happening anymore. Amazon's making it happen today or next day at best. Can I? They want to use information in new ways that create value for them. For me, consumers expect personalized experiences. And finally, simple. Consumers want everything to happen, right? We all want our orders to happen without a hitch, right? We want it easy. And obviously, again, I have to go back to Amazon because Amazon has really, in my mind, they've perfected the customer relationship. Designing a product to meet consumer needs. One of the P's. Follow researching, find out what people want. A lot of times products that come about because the creator had a need that wasn't filled. Setting an appropriate price. This is challenging, especially in these days where you can get almost anything anywhere. Pricing products depends on many factors: competitors' prices, production costs, distribution, and promotion. And we saw what happened when distribution gets disrupted during COVID. We had supply chain issues, meant distribution issues, meant increasing cost. Getting the product to the right place. And this is the supply chain issue again. Intermediaries are important because getting a product to consumers where and when they want is critical. Promotion, the next P. Promotion, advertising, personal selling, public relations, publicity. How do we get people to know that we're out there? I always tell students who are starting a business, you can't just create a website and expect that people are going to go there and buy stuff. There has to be marketing and promotion to let people know that you're there. My wife is a painter. We were looking to sell her paintings online. And I told her, just out of curiosity, go to Etsy. So she went to Etsy and she put in a description of her paintings. She was doing a certain style of painting at that point. Thousands, literally thousands of people came up. I said to her, this is our problem. Marketing research, used to identify products consumers have used in the past and what they want in the future. Uncovers business trends, the ecological impact of decisions, global trends, and more. Also being gathered online through social media. Lucky for you, I actually happen to have worked for a market research firm several years ago. And I learned about the two types of research they did. There was quantitative research and qualitative research. Quantitative research is the survey type, where they get numbers and crunch the numbers and determine which direction people want them to go. Qualitative research is where you sit in on panels, and the company comes out and they ask you questions. What products do you like? How do you use them? What colors? So that's a more personal type of research. So there's several ways to approach it. The marketing research process, defining the problem or opportunity and determining the present situation. So what are you thinking about making? Is it already offered? And then collecting research, both primary, which is telephone, online, mail surveys, secondary, which is information that already exists, but that data may not be valuable or applicable to what you're looking for. Number 3, we analyze the data. What does it tell us? And number 4, choosing the best solution based on that analysis of the data. Environmental scanning is the process of identifying factors that can affect marketing success. Influences involved in the environmental scan include global factors, technological, socio-cultural, competitive, and economic. All of these factors have to be looked at. They're the environmental scanning factors. Consumer market, individuals and households, that's us, folks. Business to business, that's business buying industrial goods so they can create their own products and sell those products. The buyer's reason for buying, that is the end use of the product, determines whether a product is B2B or B2C. The size and diversity of the consumer market forces marketers to decide which groups they want to serve. So you decide, who are you serving? Who are you selling to? What's your market? We're going to do a lot of different surveys, a lot of different data breakdowns, market segmentation, different groups based on characteristics, income, sex, marital status, race. All of these things we're going to look at different segments of the market to see where you want to sell. Target marketing, selecting which groups can be profitable. So once you do that market segmentation, then you can see who you should be selling to, who it's going to be most profitable to sell to. Segmenting the consumer market, geographic, demographic, that means what we were just talking about, people, psychographic, benefit segmentation, and volume or usage. The best segmentation strategy is to use all the variables, and I always tell my students, never take one approach. Take several approaches in anything you do in business. It gives you a better understanding of what's going on. Reaching smaller market segments, niche marketing. Online retail supports more specialized products. I worked for Haagen-Dazs ice cream for several years. Haagen-Dazs was a niche product. It was a very high-end ice cream. It was very expensive. It still is. But it served a particular market, a market of people who were looking for a higher-end I'll think of the word. One-to-one marketing takes place in consumer markets and B2B. Mass marketing, that's marketing to a large group of people, marketing to the whole country. There's not a whole lot of segmentation with mass marketing because you're just kind of throwing stuff out there. And then relationship marketing tends to lead away from mass production and toward custom-made goods and services. Obviously, if you're creating something special for someone, you're going to have a different kind of relationship with them than if they're buying a box of cereal. Effective relationship marketing, open communication, consistently reliable service. Apple Computer, perfect example of that. Staying in contact with customers. We get emails all the time, don't we? Trust, honesty, and ethical behavior. Well, that becomes an issue, isn't it? And finally, showing that you truly care. It's funny, I read a story recently about Starbucks, and the founder of Starbucks went to Italy, and he saw the cafe in Italy, and the way people sat in cafes, and they lingered over their coffee, and they talked, and they shared. It was a very communal experience. And that's what he tried to bring back to the United States in Starbucks. Starbucks originally, you would go in and you'd sit down, you have your coffee, you go with a friend, you're talking to people. When you walked into Starbucks 10 years ago, they'd say, "Hi, Rich," for instance, if it was me, if it was the store I typically go to, would you like the same thing? Would you like your regular? Right? Getting to know the customer. It's really important. Consumer decision-making process. Problem recognition. I need something. Information search. Now, my wife gets on me all the time because this is what I do. I spend hours researching something before I buy it. I finally evaluate the alternatives, and I decide based on what's available, how much I want to spend, and so forth. I make a decision. And then there's a post-purchase evaluation. And part of that post-purchase evaluation sometimes is something called buyer's remorse. Have you ever had that? Where you bought something, it got to your house, you opened it up, you used it, and you said, "Gee, I didn't want this." Marketing can be challenging in both B2C and B2B markets. Common issues. Brand awareness. Do people know I'm out here? Social media. What is social media saying about my product? Converting leads into customers. Gaining customer insight. Budgeting. Budgeting is always an issue for a business. Obviously, you got to make money. And finally, competing in global markets. Wider variety of careers in marketing than in most. It's lots of careers in marketing. There's retail store manager, marketing research, product management, selling, advertising, all of these jobs and more. And that takes care of our chapter for this week. So